Top reasons advanced manufacturing pros want to move to Ohio. So many advancement opportunities for technicians, machinists, managers, operators, and more. How about a powered-up paycheck and an amped-up career? Plus, the energy of big-time sports. And after work, plenty of ways to unplug. The career you want and a life you'll love. Have it all in the heart of it all. Build your future at callohiohome.com.
Stripe is the go-to choice for AI companies, from early-stage startups to scaled enterprises. 78% of the leading AI companies use Stripe to go to market quickly and scale globally. That includes pioneers like NVIDIA, OpenAI, and Perplexity. Stripe has developed cutting-edge tools to improve everything from fraud detection to checkout optimization. Whether you're aiming for incremental gains or planning for enterprise transformation, see how Stripe can help at stripe.com.
Life insurers put life into the things you live for. The new factory that's hiring your neighbors. Maintenance on the bridge that keeps traffic flowing. The paycheck that puts pizza night on the table. Life insurers contribute $8 trillion to the U.S. economy through bond purchases and other investments, and protect the financial security of 90 million American families, like yours. See how life insurers put life into America at acli.com. Paid for by the American Council of Life Insurers.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Did you know that Game Pass or Pass is brought to you for free because of Spotify for podcasters? It's a totally free platform, and you can make a podcast today for free. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. And if you're thinking about taking your podcast to the next level with a video podcast, Spotify can help you too. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can also earn money in a variety of ways that includes ads and podcast subscriptions. So what are you waiting for? Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to spotify.com/podcast to get started right now.
Now time for a very class-based edition of Game Pass or Pass, the podcast where we play games on Microsoft's Game Pass service, tell you which games to pass into your friends and which games to simply not play on xCloud. I am Corey. I am your Devastator. I am joined by whatever class this guy played, Basher.
I'm also out here devastating, just devastating all the things.
Devastating everything. The whole Outriders universe has been devastated by us. That's just how it is. I'm sorry that it came down to this, but that's just how it is. That's what we're going to talk about on this podcast. We're going to be talking about Outriders. And normally at this time, and I sort of just realized this, I would be pulling up like phone numbers and tell you to like rate us, but I'm on a different computer, and I just realized I'm not signed into any of that stuff, so we're going to skip it. Because the time it's going to take me to log in.
Last week's episode, and
exactly.
Just do that.
gpopfans@gmail.com. I know that one. The phone number, I don't know. Don't memorize. Don't have that memorized. Okay, look. I'm not going to be fully open with why I'm on a different computer, but I am not on my desktop. And if you are following the GPU situation, you know
how
why.
much like it is, bro.
So,
Tell the people, they want to know.
Tell the people. I like. It's to the point where like I've debated buying like literally like a $10 really old PCIe GPU just to like wait it out. But we'll see. I'm currently in a drawing to buy a GPU from Newegg, which I should probably have my phone by me, but oh well, whatever. If I don't get it, I don't get it. That's not what this podcast is about. We're going to be talking about Outriders. Here's the details on this game. This is developed by People Can Fly, makers of Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment. Regularly priced at $59.99, this is a third-person class-based shooter available on PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. It is crossplay, so I believe as of right now, all crossplay is working as intended. Originally, console crossplay was working, but PC to console, for whatever reason, was disabled for that first week. But as far as I know, that is now working. There are no cross saves or cross progression. So whatever console you are on, unless you're on an Xbox or PlayStation will carry to PlayStation, Xbox will carry to Xbox, but you cannot go from Xbox to PC, vice versa. There's currently no DLC, but that might come in the future. We're going to be throwing down on this one to give you a heads up. But when it comes to Outriders, it is time to talk about it.
Ooh, I like that intro. I'm going to rate that one a 7.5 out of 10. One of your better ones.
That's easily an 8. Come on.
That's higher than Outriders.
Wow.
Let's start with the positives. Because there's I think there's quite a few positives in this game. I'm gonna start with the bones of this game. This is one of those games that has one of those built-in fun factors for me. As a co-op looter shooter, as everyone's trying to make now.
A schluter? I hate that word. That word.
They're calling it schlooters.
Oh yeah, you haven't heard schluter?
I heard of shmups, the Alex shmups.
No, it's a schluter, bro.
That sounds like a
schluter.
Disgusting sex act. I don't like it.
Right? Take your schluter and get out of here.
That's gross. But the both this game is I like.
I feel like we should set the pace. Like by now, you probably know what Outriders is, but it's a third-person cover-based shooter. Set in the Outriders universe, which is a civilization to where they've moved on from Earth, and they are looking for supplies. They are looking for new ways to inhabit, get energy.
None of this matters. None of this matters.
Very sci-fi centric.
Nobody cares.
Story, and you are an Outrider, which means you get superpowers.
There is no
basically.
story.
There is a story.
There's no story.
There is a story.
There's no plot.
There's a Quan Chi looking
characters.
Dude that's got like a Voldemort thing going on from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. He's got like a face on the back of his body.
Oh man,
I don't know what that's about.
I don't want to get into that part yet, but again,
so there's 4 different classes. It's kind of you've got sort of your tank, you've got your pyro, you've got your sort of phase walker or your magician, and you've got
which renders one of the other classes useless.
And your like turret guy, your sort of all around guy, your technomancer. He's good at everything. He keeps them at a distance and does the thing. So it's got the classes that you probably are familiar with if you've ever played any type of class-based shooter or even like a Diablo, something like that. I think the key with this game is that it is a loot-based game. It is not it's not a Destiny. It is much more Diablo than a Destiny in that your loot is very much tied to your skills and your classes. If I pick up a weapon, it is useless to Basher in many ways because it is specifically tied to my skills and my class. So there's not a lot of loot trading, stuff like that. So when it comes to building your class, you really are building your skill trees and you're building your character with your loot. So every time you upgrade your loot, you can kind of change and balance your skills. So for instance, our class has like a hardened skin that you can pop, and so there's skills that'll be like, increase your resistances by 100% or increase the duration by 100%. That's along those lines. It's a little more in depth than something like a Destiny, more like a Diablo, I like to say. So there's your basics.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't even care.
You should care.
Don't even care. It's basic co-op. If you played co-op shooter before, you played this game before. It's But that said, that's not all bad. I mean, again, I like the bones of it. I think there's a fun factor here where my favorite thing about this game is probably the mod system and the fact that when you incorporate the mods into your tech tree, which is your basic tech tree, um, you can actually create your own build, which I think is something that's been greatly missing from the Destinies, even the Divisions. I feel like a lot of times classes end up not meaning much, like a Borderlands, or it doesn't really matter what you do because end game all can have the same kind of loot gear anyway. Whereas I credit this game for really being able to create your own class of characters so that my Devastator is not like your Devastator. I can focus on augmented powers as opposed to firepower or whatever else. So I think that's probably my favorite thing about this game.
I mean, this is everything you just said is totally true, and that's why I think I am much higher on this game than you are, or maybe a lot of people are. It's because it's exactly what you said. Like when you look at, I feel like this is the game that a lot of these bigger companies have been trying to make. Like the Division always runs into that problem of, at the end of the day, your classes are all the same. Like you're not really making a huge difference in how you play that game. From the moment you start playing the Division till the end, even when you get like the super high gear, you're not playing it differently. And the same thing with Destiny. The thing that drives me nuts about Destiny is that I spend all this time trying to get this exotic, and it might just not be fun to use, and I can't use a lot of them at the same time. So I have to basically pick an exotic that I want to use, and I just, the fun factor in those games is diminished considerably because the classes aren't unique and fun to play. And that's the reason why I'm not playing the Division anymore. I tried the Division and the Division 2. I really tried to get into those games, but at the end of the day, my character progression was just lacking. And we've done the Destiny on this podcast. I have played so much Destiny 2 trying to find the fun in that game when it comes to the classes, and I think that they've made steps to make it better, but everything that this game does with the skill trees and the skills actually mattering, and there being real progression of your skills and mods. Like level 1 mods are completely different than level 3 mods, and the way that you balance those and sort of keep building your character is everything right where it's everything wrong in those other games. Now, that's not to say it's perfect, but like that's the vault and dang near sticking the landing. Like that's the point of these games, and that's where just I think Destiny and Division, while I like Division a lot more than Destiny 2, I think those games get too much credit. I really do, because I think they are fundamentally flawed in how they build their characters, which is the point of the game.
I think I'm going to disagree with you a bit on that aspect, because to give Destiny some defense here, I don't think Destiny. Fine, all right, I'm out, guys. It's a good run. I think you're exactly right with the Division in other games. I think Destiny, though, I think their overall scheme and development standpoint is in a way to balance the game easier for them. Maybe I have a strong feeling that they don't intend for such wildly different builds. I think they really intended for kind of an end game character that they know that people are going to use and work around and develop around. But I completely agree with something like the Division, because I feel like at the end of the day, they wanted everyone to have their own special class or special way to play. It's like, you never gave me that. Whereas Outriders does give you that. I give you credit for that. If only it didn't take so much to get there. I mean, as much as I love the mods in this game, good luck having them work. I mean, I feel like a quarter of the time mods don't work, and whether that's in my favor or not, there was a. I mean, I mean, I was going to say this. Overall, Outriders is a completely undercooked game. As much as the good ideas that they have, for every step forward, for every step of, we played Destiny, we played the Division, we played these looter shooters.
Anthem.
Anthem. We played all of these. Let's improve this part of the game. For everything they've done in those categories, they took 3, 4, 5, 20 steps backwards in some basic tech, just tech building assets. Because if my game isn't crashing, if I can only play with a friend for longer than 20 minutes, if the invite system wasn't completely broken, like it is, this is an early access game that is being sold at full price and released on Game Pass. And I find it absolutely gross.
See, and I don't disagree entirely. I just don't buy that the game isn't done. Like in the sense of, like, I look at something like like when we say stuff that isn't done, I think there's much more egregious examples that I think fit into that category more. This I think fits more into the category of rough around the edges.
No. I mean, I mean, interrupt you. Go ahead.
I mean, that's just, I don't know if I have much else to say. Like, granted, obviously it's going to be different for each person. And I think, we've talked about theories of why we're having such different experiences. Because, I mean, we are literally on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of hardware capabilities. You are on an OG Xbox One, and I am on the Xbox Series X. So, I mean, you literally have the polar opposites, to where I'm running at 4K 60. It is a dynamic HDR, and you're running at, I think, 900p 30 frames. You can't get more different. And most of the time, like that's not going to be a huge difference. But I also did try playing this game via xCloud, just because I've got a Razer Kishi, and I kind of play some games. I play Doom and stuff on my phone. I was like, you know what, I'll go through a couple quests, level up my character a little bit, and I was like, oh man, this is unplayable. like I can't do anything. Like, my aim's off. But I sort of chalked that up to just the network interface that I was at, and it possibly just, creating some lag and everything. But no, I mean, you're not alone in that. I think some of the issues that you're having, like, I did experience some disconnects that first week. But really since then, I have not had any issues, like, in terms of disconnects. Like, I had a weird instance where one time I was playing with my buddy, and I picked him up because he went down, and he just couldn't do anything. Like, he could walk around, but none of his buttons worked. Like,
that's happening a lot. By a lot, I mean every single time I've played this game. So I played the game with two friends of mine. One's on the PlayStation 5. The other one's on the Xbox Series 1X.
Xbox One X.
Like, I don't know anymore. I really don't. And then so, like, and they're having this, if similar and different issues. The guy that's playing on the Series X, he's telling me, like, yo, I don't know what's going on here, but, like, the lag is terrible. Like, I just can't aim right. So we had him host. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, I didn't want to color the game for him already. So in my head, I know what the issue is, because the aiming in this game is, your theory is that it's tied to the frame rate or something. So, like,
me, it seems like the physics are tied to the frame rate, like, which
has always been wrong. So it's like,
right.
So, like,
it's
imagine
usually not the best scenario.
imagine moving your cursor around the screen or dragging your cursor around the screen and then it being 3 or 4 seconds behind, like there's this huge dead zone in between. That's what it's like to move around this game for me at all times. When our buddy switched over and he hosted, this same issue was happening for him. And I'm just like, yeah, that's the issue with this game. On top of that, our friend from PlayStation 5, who had better luck hosting all of us because we kept getting disconnected or couldn't connect at all. This game just kept crashing. That's if he could log in at all. It is, and on top of that, like the list. I mean, we usually do this about 30 minutes, 40 minutes tops. I could talk about bugs and glitches for 17 hours. I mean, like my Xbox buddy, while we were playing, he was ready to turn this game off and delete it when we finished one of the story missions. I'm sorry, we didn't finish it. We got to one of the checkpoints where we cleared the area of enemies. And once you do that, the door opens. Except our buddy on PlayStation instantly said, "Oh yeah, that door's not opening. Okay, so we're gonna all have to quit." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, we all have to quit." What do you mean we have to quit? Like, yeah, you have to shut down this room, and then we have to load back in for that door to open. Why is this a thing still? Like this is a full priced title. Like this, like and I'm sorry, but I fully disagree with you on that. This is not on the level of broken mess that we've seen in the past. This is up there with Anthem. This is up there with Cyberpunk. Like because like far and wide people are having these issues and like the game is near unplayable and the reason I'm so angry at this game in particular, because I finished Cyberpunk with a smile on my face because it's so stupid and terrible. But this game angers me because, again, there's fun here. There's good fun here. There's so many steps forward in the genre that I'm very upset. Like, why couldn't you spend the extra 2-3 months to just polish this game off? Because everything from how you build your character, you can actually build a character. There's actual role-playing game not in here, as opposed to your Destinies or your Divisions where it's like, what loot do you have so I can get the same piece of loot? Like, this is randomized, just like, I have no idea how you're doing that. Like, your build is ridiculous. How'd you get there? Like, this is one of the few occasions where it's really done well, but then it's like, my mods are so great when they work, because sometimes your mods don't work. Sometimes you can't move. Sometimes you can't shoot. Like, it is so depressing that they release a game like this in this state.
To back up, I think the main reason why I disagree is because I just sort of chalk this up to the same thing, like the Call of Duty thing. Like, Call of Duty, those first couple weeks, like, you just randomly get disconnected and randomly your gun won't fire, or randomly you start with no gun. Like, I think the fundamental flaw of this game is that this game was very clearly at one point a Destiny style game. There's no doubt in my mind that this game went through some changes on the design dock probably late in the game that turned it from a always sort of progressing, grind, I guess you could say, even though like there is an end game to it and the end game is a grind, but it's not trying to be that games as a service. I think at one point it probably was, and I think you can probably thank Avengers for that. Like, a lot of these companies are getting spooked away from this, especially it's probably Square Enix after Avengers. And so there's still some of those trappings and those hookings in this game. And I'm going to bet that's why those issues are there. But when I look at something like Cyberpunk and I look at something like a No Man's Sky or a what's the other one, or like an Anthem, it's like that game, I'm not saying that you're not having your problems, but that game, everybody was having problems. Like literally everybody. You could go on Reddit and see that, yo, this game is broken fundamentally from every aspect. The cops in Cyberpunk, they literally just appear behind you. Like, that is a design choice that they made. The design choices of this game are not bad. It's just some people are having issues with them. If/when they get this fixed, the design changes, the fundamental design of the game is not going to change. Whereas the fundamental design of a No Man's Sky, they had to go back and basically rebuild that game from the ground up. Cyberpunk, they claimed they were going to do that, but obviously hindsight's 2020, and they didn't really do that. Like, they tweaked things, but the cops still just appear out of nowhere. They just appear a little bit farther.
Right.
So
no, you're absolutely right. I agree with that. Again, that's why I say the bones of this game is good. That's why I say there's fun to be had here, and that's why I'm saying I'm so disappointed in this product. Because this is just another example of, we're going to release an undercooked game that we know is undercooked, that we know does not work. I mean, this game came out the gate with a beta that had an inventory wipe bug that they did not fix in time for release. As of recording this, they just fixed it maybe a week ago. That's my biggest issue with the game, because I want to like it. This is not like Cyberpunk where now I'm like, yep, this is trash. I knew it was going to be trash, and let's have some fun with some trash. Like, this is not trash. This is a diamond in the rough that they just didn't take the time to make a diamond. Like, this should have came out stellar, 9-10 reviews across the board, no issues, no concerns. But they wanted to cut corners every single way along to the finish line, just so they could have a released product. And it's like, that's one of the many huge issues with this industry, is that they release these undercooked, underfinished games, and we're like, it's fine, they'll patch it, it'll be good then. It's like, well, fine. Well, there's a YouTuber who I agree with probably half the time. Jim Sterling. I like him because he's consistent in his views, whether I agree with him or not. But the point he made that I fully agree with is, if the gamer can wait for you to fix the bugs, then you can wait for the gamer's money for a finished product. And that's my biggest issue here. Not only did this release with a full priced as a full price title, but it released on Microsoft's Game Pass. And this is a slippery slope here. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what we don't want to happen is for this to be a place where publishers dump undercooked things, and then we end up with like a Steam spotlight thing, whatever they called it, or that.
I mean, Xbox has its own early access program. I don't remember what. I think it's just called Xbox Early Access.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, I think it's game access or something.
Yeah, because exactly. But point is, you don't want to end up with one of those, like a PSN marketplace where you have like Black Tiger, Legend of Black Tiger, and stuff like that on there. You don't want to make it be. You don't want to get into the habit of, well, they're paying monthly for it. It's not a full price title for them, so screw it. Let's release it for them. We'll fix it later. Because that's the feeling I'm getting for this game, and that's feeling a lot of people get. This is not a some people issue. This is like, I mean, I think I read they lost 2/3 of their players on Steam. Like,
I saw that number too, but that's also, it can be very deceptive, those Steam Spy and all that stuff, but the concurrent player list. But yes,
if true, we know why. Like, is the point. Like, this is I hate that the bones of this is so good, and then they just didn't polish it.
Right. And I don't want to sound like I'm advocating for the game, because I'm not. Like, I fully am in agreement with you that the broken game being released is is a bad trend that unfortunately is not going to go away. I think this is. I still just deep down don't believe it's on the same. Like, I'm not saying that, they didn't know that the bugs were there. I definitely think that they knew the bugs were there, but I don't think they estimated correctly how devastating some of them could have been. Because, again, at the end of the day, when the game hopefully is fixed, it might not ever be. You can't predict the future. The fundamentals of the game are going to be the same. So I just don't put it on the same tier as like a Cyberpunk, where it's like, there's absolutely no way that they have now come out and admitted that, yeah, like, we screwed up. We thought the base game was going to be better than it was. And it's like, dude, like, that game was just from start to finish not done. Like, you got people randomly T-posing. You've got people in quests, like, not following their scripts. You've got cutscenes bugging out, and it's like, this game isn't perfect by any means, but the fundamental flaws are not in the base game. It's just buggy. Like, and again, I fully agree that, yeah, it should have been polished, like 100%. Like, it drives me nuts whenever companies do this, and like I said, it's becoming a trend. Luckily, I for the most part, I feel like Microsoft, Sony, and especially Nintendo have their first party has shied away from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sony, I think Sony's most egregious was Days Gone. That was an instance to where that game clearly wasn't done. But I don't put that on the same level as like a No Man's Sky, because at the end of the day, the base game was the same. They just had to polish it up. But yeah, I mean, you had Spider-Man, Gears Tactics launched relatively bug-free. Gears 5 had some pretty game-breaking campaign glitches. That was because but that was a server thing. Like, because for whatever reason, even when you're playing the campaign, the game wanted to sync to the frickin' server, and then when it couldn't, you'd have issues. So it's just like, for the most part, I think a lot of these companies are, at least the first parties, are doing well. Like, I can't think of a single Nintendo game. Like, Nintendo has frame rate issues every now and again, and they just don't fix them. Like, I don't know if you've played Hyrule Warriors. Like, that game, they just keep adding content to it, but they refuse to fix the frame rate, because I don't think they care. I think they've like, we've polished it the most we can. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's as far as we're getting. But again, I just want to emphasize that, like, I'm not advocating for it, but I just don't put it on the same level as that. I'm not saying that's not happening to people. I'm not saying that the game breaking thing didn't happen, but I also look at something like Diablo 3, and Diablo 3 Air 37, that became a meme. It's just like, I think I credit some of this to the Game Pass effect of, we keep seeing it over and over of these companies saying, like, we put this game on Game Pass and we saw our numbers double and triple. And it's like, Enix should have been prepared for it, though. Enix has been on Game Pass. They have seen what numbers it can do. But at the same time, I don't think they've ever debuted a game on Game Pass. And I do want to push back a little bit on I don't want to call it a doomsday scenario, but no, like, that seems to be a common, I don't want to say fear, because it's not exactly right, but of Game Pass is going to become the shovelware. Like, if you think your game's not going to sell or it's not done, just throw it on Game Pass. But at the same time, this game was on PC, it was on PlayStation, it was on, you can buy it on other platforms. So I think that becomes a scapegoat for a lot of people that, granted, you're a Game Pass subscriber, so I'm not saying this to you, but a lot of people that are afraid of Game Pass or aren't subscribed to Game Pass because they don't like what it stands for or whatever, they use those tactics and those arguments of, like, well, it's not sustainable and everyone's only subscribed for $1 and all those stupid arguments that you see. I just don't think this fits into that scenario. I think this is just a game that they knew it was buggy, but the release of it ended up being far more buggy than it was. But at the same time, like, 98% of the time I'm having zero issues. I cannot say that about other games like a Assassin's Creed Unity or a Cyberpunk or a No Man's Sky, whatever. I just don't, I don't put them on the same plane.
Overall, I completely agree with the point you're making, in the sense that this game is not a top to bottom scam like those other games were. I mean, I think that's the point you're trying to make here, is like, Cyberpunk is a flat out scam.
That is not the game that they promised. Like,
you're right.
The trailers for that game and what they said you were going to do not line up with what that game is.
No, 100%. You can go down the line. No Man's Sky, 100% scam. Like, from the get-go. Outriders is not a scam in that sense. It is not a scam in the sense that this is not a bait and switch like those other games were. However, when so many of your issues are the same issues that were in your beta, which, as far as I was thought to believe for a long time, we now know this is not the case as gamers. A beta is just a demo, but
right,
a beta,
it's a server test.
exactly. But it was supposed to be like, what are the bugs? Let's get on those. Let's start to fix those. Instead, they just let all the bugs just ride all the way to the proper release of the game, and in this idea of we'll just fix it later, and it's like, or maybe we'll fix it later. Like that's the thing we gotta understand here is, if they go forward, count their riches, release some DLC, leave most of the bugs here, that still renders this game unplayable to a large amount of people, in my opinion. And that will be a terrible look for this franchise, for these devs who I like, because I was a big fan of Bulletstorm.
Love Bulletstorm. I absolutely love Bulletstorm.
Probably the most underrated game of that generation.
I would agree with that. It's up there of most underrated. Like, that game from top to bottom it's not a masterpiece by any means, but it's one of the most unique and just like creative games I've ever played.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, I know these guys are just incredibly talented. So that's, again, my biggest issue with this game is that I know these guys are talented. I know these people are good at what they do. I know this is a good game. It's just hindered by this idea of being a AAA access game. And I'm going to chalk that all the way up to Square Enix and how they handled this, because I know people can fly, can make, if you said, take the time you need to make this work, this would have came out the gate the absolute best co-op shooter on the market.
Right. And Square Enix in general, they just can't seem to get, like, even look at Final Fantasy. Like, Final Fantasy 15's release was, they ended up going back and, like, adding content to that game. Like, it just seems like that they have a ship date or ship goal in mind, fully aware that we're going to add stuff to it later. And I don't know, like, I think Kingdom Hearts 3 might have been their last, like, fully. Oh, they also do Dragon Quest, which I think do well. It seems like sometimes their publishing, it just doesn't line up. I'm not sure what's going on when it comes to their games, but you look at something like Avengers, and it's just like, that game, like, what is going to happen to that game? And I
think Square Enix only cares about their babies. Like, if you're not Dragon Quest, if you're not Final Fantasy, if you're not Kingdom Hearts, like, we're just gonna release it as is. We don't really care how janky it is.
Sure. I mean, and it's very possible. So I feel like we need to, like, 'cause we've been talking for a while now, but we haven't really talked about the game. And I don't want to end this episode on that, because it's very easy to just call this game a third-person shooter, but the magic of this game is in the skills and sort of the hybrid and the culmination of playing with different people. And I really want to talk about the world tier system and just how much I think that is kind of the secret sauce of this game of this action RPG that you can play. Like, I'm trying to not say the word Diablo 3, but I can't help it, because Diablo 3 is a game that a lot of people love to hate, but there's a lot of people that still play it. I mean, that's one of the best selling games of all time. And so, while I fully agree that game is different than Diablo 2, it's its own different in a good way. And I think they got that game to a place where it's about just managing chaos and creating chaos and just laying waste to everything in front of you. And this game is very much like that, but it's a third-person shooter. And it reminds me of Bulletstorm in that they took a concept of like scoring points and kill with skill, and in this way they really made it work with just, have fun, like look cool while doing it. And with the world tier system, which is basically you can set your own difficulty, and as you keep playing the game, it gets more difficult. And if it gets too difficult, you can dial it back. But for the people like me that are stupid and stubborn and that are just pushing and pushing and pushing, it's like I'm to the point now where a group of enemies might take me 5 to 10 minutes to kill because they're so squishy, and other people would absolutely hate that. But I like that challenge. I like that having to just keep sort of adjusting my class and adjusting how I'm playing my mods or playing my skills of just to get a little bit further. Then I should not be playing this to where these enemies take literally hundreds of bullets to take down, but I like that challenge, I guess. 'Cause, I mean, it's not really a challenge because is it a challenge? I don't know. It's just, I like that ability to sort of tailor it the way that I want to play. And I think it's extremely important that more games look at this game and show that you got to have fun at the core. Like, so what skills are you running on your Devastator?
I don't know the name of these skills. I got Earthquake. I got the armor in the middle, like the increased armor, and then I got the third spot. I again, to your point, play however you like, play however you need to as well. So like that third spot, I switched between that teleporting rock thing.
Yeah.
Because
the impale.
Yep, and then the earthquake thing. So
yeah, I think that's kind of awesome because like I do use the armor because I think you kind of have. I guess you don't have to, but I definitely use the reflect bullets whenever I'm fighting people with guns, obviously, because there's other creatures that you fight, and then I'm using the teleport smash kind of thing.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, and it's just it's so much fun. Like it really is so much fun.
Understand that's why I hate this game so much,
right?
Because it's so much fun. Because and it's so much fun in the worst kind of way too. Because although the snipers in this game, the enemy snipers in the game, are completely overpowered and ridiculous, instead of me begging them to fix that, I'm like, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to throw on my rock armor. I'm going to teleport over there. I'm going to beat them in the face, and then exactly. I'm going to feel good about myself.
Kill with skill,
right? So it's like there's so much people can fly in this game, and it shines so bright. But then for me to hit that wall, I'm just like, you sons of guns. Because like, again, the best thing about this game is you'll be playing with you can run 4 of the same classes and have completely different builds. And to have that work is just impressive. And I give them full credit for that.
Well, and I think I find it strange and in a good way of just how well like the classes complement each other as well. And so the main person I play with, he's running the Technomancer, and I mean his turret is basically like our armor. It's just like you've got to have that turret because it freezes people and it gives you some leeway and some basically the ability to take some of the heat off of you to sort of regroup. And when you combine that with the armor and my ability to sort of teleport and then reflect bullets, like it creates a scenario where it's just so unique and it's just fun and even though you do it 100 times, it's so much fun every time you do it.
This is one of those games where it's like I completely agree with that. You can role play this game where it's like we need a Devastator, we need a Pyrotechnic guy, we need one of each class, or you can just really just be like, I want all the same classes and
it'll work. Like it'll totally work.
Like you don't have to play this game any certain way. It's that's definitely the magic of it. I mean, our buddy on on Xbox is being made fun of because he picked Pyro, which is apparently the worst useless class in the game. But it's like
it's definitely the least amount of fun. It's still good, but it's kind of, you're basically kind of Scorpion, like from Mortal Kombat. But he doesn't. I did not get far in the class. I only got to like level 10. But it seems like a lot of his good abilities are backloaded, and it takes time. It takes time to get through the class and to get abilities and stuff like that. So he's definitely a late game class, whereas I think the other ones shine much better in the front. And I think you could even call that a flaw. Like, I think that some of the later abilities, especially with the Technomancer, I think they just don't stack up. But at the same time, you hit that wall of the mods really come into play. But the way that you get the mods is you basically have to find a weapon first that has those mods, and then you break it down, and then you can sort of mod that mod into whatever weapon you want. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, but it's work that I enjoy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like it's that's when I realized there's so much good in this game, because a lesser game, I would hit these issues and just be like, we're done here. Absolutely done. Like there's no reason to continue this. But this is definitely one of those games where it's like, I want to put in 200 hours in it, but I'm waiting for for lack of a better word, the finished release to come out. I need one, like, because address some balancing issues, address some connection issues. Again, to your point of this isn't Cyberpunk, like, address some of these really game-changing bugs, and you got yourself a game better than Destiny, better than Division, better than Anthem. Like, it's really just an extreme lack of polish in this game that's keeping it from being the looter shooter.
No, and I agree with that. I think if they would have taken the time to polish this game even more, or I should say at all, but I just, to me, it's so weird that, maybe it's not, I don't know. This is also an example of something that I am a little bit more afraid of versus like the Game Pass argument of, it's just like, when you are supporting so many different SKUs, you are supporting a base Xbox One all the way to the Series X, and it's like, but at the same time, is it really supporting the Series X? Like, it runs at a higher frame rate and a higher resolution. Like, does that mean you're supporting the platform? So I have to wonder if that played part into it, and having to support on the PC. Like, that's how many SKUs is that? That's like, 7 SKUs? And as much as Microsoft loves to push this, like, yeah, we're going to be, cross-platform, and we're going to be on PC, and we're going to be on Xbox, like, it is more work for these developers, for sure. So that's the part that I'm scared about. But I just have to wonder how much of that plays into it. Like, if this was only on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 and PC, like, would that have made a difference? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to say. But this game also obviously started development long time ago. This game has been in development for like 4 years, so those consoles didn't even exist back then. So it's nice that they support it, but at the same time, maybe you shouldn't have. Maybe you shouldn't have supported the Series X maybe out of the gate. And that's one thing that I know people like Cyberpunk really rub people the wrong way. It's like, why is it not coming out just for the PlayStation 5 and the X and the Series X? Because clearly those last gen versions were just busted. And it's like, but things change, man. Like, development is a hard thing, and so I would almost rather them do it the way they're doing it now. It's like, we're going to support the Xbox and the Xbox One X as well as the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. And since both of these machines are backwards compatible, you can play them, but we're not going to take full advantage, because if you're going to just do the basic work, I'd rather you spend that time polishing, so that way we had less of these issues. I guess that was a mini rant to go on, but yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's a necessary rant, because you start to affect with a game like Anthem or Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky. We wouldn't sit here for an hour and make excuses for it. We weren't, or not excuses, but come up with reasonings for it. We wouldn't try to figure out why it's in the state that it is. this practice of doing so much ends up affecting quality titles. And that's when it starts to really hurt, because it's like Outriders, like I was never hyped on it, but if this game came out fully polished, I'd be praising it to the heavens right now. Like this is like because people are looking for this game specifically, and for it to finally come out, it's kind of like in the States, it just kind of sucks, So like, I do want to say that at the end of the day, like, I truly feel like this is not a bait and switch. This is not a scam. This is not on the side of the developers at all. This truly feels to me that Square Enix had a date for this game. Come hell or high water, it's getting released at that point in time. And sadly, I don't know. Square doesn't have the greatest history of going back and fixing things.
Or
so
if they do, it takes years.
Exactly. And,
but they're the publisher in this scenario, so that gives me a little bit of hope.
And also, what gives me hope is People Can Fly made this. So
exactly, right. I mean, Square Enix is only calling the shots, whereas at the end of the day, People Can Fly are actually making it. So that gives me a little bit more hope than if it was a Square Enix developed game.
But yeah. So do you want to wrap it up and see where our verdict is?
Yeah,
today?
I do. I feel like I say this every episode now. This is tough. It's just because we had such vastly different experiences. And at the end of the day, we cannot say for certain why those issues were. Like, is it because you're on an older Xbox? Is it because I'm on a newer Xbox? Is the code just more polished for the Series X and the One X? Like, I don't know. I'm not a developer, and I'm not, even if I was a developer, I've not seen the code, like I cannot say for certain what the problems actually are. And I can't say for certain that the game will be fixed, but I think we're sort of sitting on opposite sides of the fence. Whereas, yeah, like I fully understand that there's some issues, but I didn't experience them. So I go into it looking at it and saying like, I think everyone should play this. Like I thoroughly, this game will be in my top 10 for the year. Like I don't see there's anywhere there's not, because it's just right up my alley. It's a game that I really enjoy. It's a game that I can get addicted to. And, we talked about gameplay and stuff, but I also like, the game is not pretty, but I like how varied the locations are. I like the way that the weapons look. I like the way that the armor looks. Like it hits on so many points for me that I can look at it and say like, yeah, like the story's stupid. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, stupid doesn't even describe it. But
there's a story here?
Yeah, there is, believe it or not. But it's dumb in the right way. Like, it is definitely it's a People Can Fly story. Like,
it's too serious for me, but I hear what you're saying.
See, but I think we could go into another debate. I think it's serious as an act. Like, I think they fully know that it's dumb. Like, but it's so hard because People Can Fly. They're hard to read sometimes, but that's kind of their charm in my opinion. But like, to wrap up my feelings, I guess it's just, the story's dumb, but you don't play these games for the story. But there's also some stuff in the story that's dumb in the right way. Like, there's a quest where you basically have to play Russian roulette, and I'm not going to spoil it because the whole quest, you don't actually play anything. The quest is you start it, you go talk to the guy, and the quest ends. But that's the style that People Can Fly when it works well, because what happens is so dumb in a cool way. It's just like, I'm into this. I'm totally into this. But if you're not, you're going to look at the story and be like, why would I even care? Like, why would I even waste my time? And it's just, it's such a hard thing with all the issues that you had. So like, yeah, it's just, I feel like, we're on opposite ends, but we had different experiences. I'm
going to say that in itself is why I cannot recommend this game in its current state. The fact that almost, I mean, if I were to factor in the two people I played with, and if you factor in your friend's experience, we might have 3-4 different experiences entirely. That says to me this game is undercooked. It's too rough around the edges. And if I were to say go out and play this game, I don't know if I'm saying that to someone who has an Xbox One, an Xbox, PlayStation 3, 4, 5, 8. Like, I don't know what your build is on your computer. I don't know what kind of TV you have. I don't know what kind of controller you have. Like, there's so many variables that go into making this game, this experience work as well for the vast majority as it worked for you, that for that reason, I just can't be like, hey, yeah, go try it out. But and I don't want to say, well, it's on Game Pass, so you don't have to pay for it, because that defeats kind of the purpose of the service for me. Does it? Like, for me, well, it does it and it does, because for me, like, my goal in this journey of Game Pass is to get away from, well, you don't have to pay for it, so whatever.
No,
like,
for sure. Yeah,
I want to move away from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
let me emphasize, like, I'm not saying that is a good thing that this is on Game Pass. I just want to, before someone freaks out, I know there's going to be one keyboard warrior that's just like, oh, so Game Pass is shovelware.
Got him.
No, yes, I was kidding.
But that's that at the end of the day is a rub for me, because there's just too many different experiences being had out there. I mean, if you Google Outriders right now, you're going to have people saying it's the best game they played all year, and then you got people saying I uninstalled this because I can't, because it doesn't run right. And it's just too varied for me to be like, yeah, this is something we should push on Game Pass as of this moment. I think this is perfect territory for Sea of Thieves type play, where we come back to this when it's better, when it's a bit more polished, and then we review this game as it should have been released.
I struggle with that simply because I don't think it's going to have that same tail. Like, it's tough to say. Obviously, if this game gets enough traction, Square Enix is going to support it, but even from the way they were talking when this game came out, like, even People Can Fly, I was like, yeah, I guess if people buy it, we might do some DLC, but there is no plans to do DLC right now. And it's got that vibe to where, as we were sort of talking, it's like Square Enix sort of knew what they had and sort of pushed it out. But at the same time, like, I think this is exactly the scenario why Game Pass can be just a godsend in many scenarios. Like, I'm not saying that, like, it sounds probably pretty fanboyish, but it's just like, look, I played the demo of this game, and this game legitimately has the worst intro I might have ever played. The first hour of this game, first half an hour, 45 minutes, is atrocious. And I find it hilarious that you can do it once, and then when you create a new character, it's like, do you want to play that again? No, I don't want to play that again. Why would I ever want to play that again? That was freaking stupid. Like, I couldn't do anything. It was like the worst Gears of War clone I've ever played, basically. And the game is just vastly different after those first 45 minutes. And it's just like, if you had only played the demo / beta, whatever, at $60, no way. But because of the barrier to entry being lower, it's not that it makes the game a lesser quality. It just makes me more willing to give it a shot. Like, it makes me more willing to spend some time with it, because my monetary involvement is much less. And in this scenario, it ended up not only saving me money, but I got to play a game with a buddy of mine because he's also got Game Pass. Like, all I had to do was say, hey man, you're on Game Pass, right? Like, yeah, we should play this. We should give it a shot. And we're playing it all the time.
Here's what I want to say. Here's what's going to change my decision. The fact that come the end of the year, this is a gamble at this point for me. This game is a pure gamble, because come the end of the year, we're going to have our best of the Game Pass that we played. And I'd rather have this in the conversation than not when it comes to that time, considering...
I think it has to be. Like,
I mean, it doesn't have to be in this state, not in my opinion. But if it's but I will give it the benefit of the doubt that they put in some effort, some time, some money into getting it to a playable state for everyone.
But see, that's
because it's not
in the spirit of this show. I would say no way, but again, my experience was just so much different. Like it's just.
But that's the point of that's the point though. You know, like the fact that we have so vastly different experiences is enough for me to be like, no, this is not done.
Right, but I legitimately have had that much fun with this game that I think it's worth saying like, sorry, bro. Like I don't know how like that sucks that you had that experience, but I had such a vastly superior experience. Like
I don't think that's fair
to
people.
This is going out of left field, but I hate the McDonald's chicken sandwich, and my buddy loves it. And it's just like, I'm like, look, man, I'm glad that you liked it, but I'm never gonna eat that sandwich again. I will stick to Chick-fil-A. Like, and he is totally fine with the McDonald's chicken sandwich being garbage. Like, I hate it with a passion, but at the same time, I'm like, if you enjoy it, man, like I totally get it. Like, I don't. This isn't a scenario to me again where it's like a Cyberpunk. It's just like I literally like lost a friend over Cyberpunk, like legitimately, because I apparently ruined his fun because I was just dogging on the game, and it's just like if someone told me they had fun with Outriders, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. But if someone told me they had fun with Cyberpunk, I'm going to look at that person a little differently. Like, I'm like, are you sure you had fun with it? Like. Explain to me how you had fun with that game. Like, explain to me how you had fun with a launch version of No Man's Sky. Like, try to let me in your world here. Whereas if someone's like Outriders, I'm like, yeah, like it sucks if you had issues, but you can see the good here. And again,
I mean, that's to me, that's just not fair. I'm sorry that viewpoint of sucks for you, bro, because it's like because they make these games and they advertise these games for these systems to run it on. So right, if you can't run it on these systems, then you shouldn't release it on the systems.
I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is that even as somebody like as you that had issues or like this, I hate this game because I can't play it. You still want to play it.
This is true. Yeah.
So like that is enough to pass it on because while we do have vastly different experiences, it's not both of us saying this game sucks because I can't play it. One of us is able to say we play it. Like I get it. It can go both ways. It's like that shouldn't be a positive, but it's more positive than negative in my opinion. Like if this game wasn't, I would not be fighting for this game if I didn't believe it is truly one of the best third person action shooters I've ever played. Like as someone who absolutely, like I have poured thousands and thousands of hours into class-based games. It is one of the best I've ever played from that perspective of the class building scenario. Like we talked about this off the air of just like, you know, we had a conversation about the inventory system and you're like, it's just Destiny. And I'm like, no, it's not just, oh crap. It's not just Destiny. Like it may look like Destiny, but it takes those extra steps and while it doesn't have the polish on the technical front, they thought these systems through from start to finish.
I mean, that's just the perfect point of one step forward, one step back for me. It's like, yeah, you improved a lot, but then it's like, there's a lot you fucked up. There's a lot you improved a lot, but there's a lot you messed up on as well. Like that's the story of this game for me. It's like, I make one step forward, like I'm having a lot of fun. Then it's like, oh wait, my teammates can't move. We have to shut down the game now.
That's fair.
So like I don't. So for me to just not blindly, but to blankly say like, hey, go out and play this game. It's like you might not be able to run this game, guys. I don't know, and nobody knows apparently. But again, at the end of the day, by the end of the year, I would rather have this in the discussion simply because I'm going to gamble that it is fixed and playable for most people. Right now, it is not playable for most people. And that to me is a sign, is like if you had to spend $1 on this game, get out. Don't do it. Do not support this type of practice in a game, in not just gaming, any sphere, like just any of them. Like they're giving you product that you cannot use. Do not pay for it. period. But we are lucky enough to be in the ecosphere of games of Game Pass. Therefore, screw it, let it ride. Let's hope everyone can play this game. No, that doesn't even work. Why would we do that right now? You know what? Whatever. Like play Outriders. Nobody cares.
No, like it is truly a, you know, we need to be able to look in the future and see if it works. In the spirit of Game Pass, I like to say that you should give more things a shot, but that's not in the sense of, well, see if it works. Like, right. It's more in the sense of like, see if this is for you. Like,
no, so, I agree, but in this case, it's going to have to be both, because if you run my system, then you might have a bad time. If you have a slower connection than someone else, you might have a bad time. If you have a stricter net than someone else, you might have a bad time. If anything other than the perfect environment happens, you might have a bad time. I'm just like, I don't like that idea of being the release. However, I think however, I'm putting my full faith in People Can Fly. That's where this judgment's coming from.
Man, I'm putting way too much emphasis on the show that no one cares about. People should play this game. That's where I stand.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'll lay. You're standing there, I'm laying there.
All right. So, as usual, in a definitive answer, I never want to. I think we do our best to say you should play this, but no, you should play.
No
this.
buts. No buts. Nope.
Yeah, you should play it, because I would hesitate to be like, well, you might have a bad time. Like, no, because I don't even want to say that, because if you have a bad time, that sucks, man. Turn it off. I fully don't.
Yep, that's where it's at.
But hey, if you don't, guess what? I think you're in for legitimately one of the most fun shooters I've ever played. So there you go. When it comes to Outriders on Game Pass or pass it on to your friends. Have some fun with it. No asterisks involved. But that's going to do this episode. Long one. It was a long one. It was a good episode, though. I enjoyed it. When it comes to the games we're going to be playing next, due to this conversation, I've already forgot what we're going to be playing next. We're going to be playing, they announced some new games for Game Pass, and we want to play
Mars Attacks.
Mars Attack. The remake of Attack of the Humans is no. What is the name of this game? Why can't
Mars Attacks the Humans from outer space.
Coming
and then
soon.
We're also playing
Destroy All Humans. That's the name of it. Destroy All Humans is coming out. The
Dragon
game
Quest
program.
Heroes.
What?
Dragon Quest Heroes. Big fan of that.
Dragon Quest Heroes, or Dragon Quest Builders 2, as well as the in-game preview Second Extinction. Now, that one's going to be a little different because we did, as I'm talking about this, we did pass up on Grounded simply because it was a game preview. I think we might have to do the same for Second Extinction. I really want to play that game, though. That game looks really cool. But, so, for sure, we're going to be talking about Destroy All Humans and Dragon Quest Builders 2, and then who knows, we might find something else in the mix there. But there you go. That's going to do it. So we'll see you next time with one of those two games. You can write us, 4logpc. Nope, that is wrong.
No, that's definitely wrong.
gpopfans@gmail.com. Maybe you hate Outriders. Maybe you love Outriders. You can leave us a voicemail on Anchor. If we normally have a regular voicemail, I'm going to do the worst thing ever and say, you need to listen to our other episodes to get that phone number.
This is one I really want to hear people's opinions, though. Of
it is
like your experience with this game, and if it's fun enough to push through for you as well, because it was for me, but it's just something that I don't want to make a trend.
For sure. And I'm saying that legitimately as I want you to listen to our other episodes, and on all like the past 15 episodes, we have our phone number on there. So give those a shot too. Those aren't long episodes. Give us some support. We like support. You can find us on Anchor. If you want to leave us a voicemail there too, you can definitely do it there. But any way you want, 4logpc, oh my gosh, gpopfans@gmail.com. You can write us there as well. So that's going to do for this. Clearly, I need to stop. that is going to do it for this episode of Game Pass or Pass. We'll see you next time with either Destroy All Humans or Dragon Quest Builders 2. Actually, it's going to be Destroy All Humans because that comes out first. So we'll see you with that.
Good day, sirs.
Life insurers put life into the things you live for. The new factory that's hiring your neighbors. Maintenance on the bridge that keeps traffic flowing. The paycheck that puts pizza night on the table. Life insurers contribute $8 trillion to the U.S. economy through bond purchases and other investments, and protect the financial security of 90 million American families, like yours. See how life insurers put life into America at acli.com. Paid for by the American Council of Life Insurers.